Okay, let's write the equation of a line passing through the points -4, 7 and 3, -14. We'll write the equation in slope-intercept form, no problem. And first up, we have this ordered pair for an x and a y. The x is -4, the y is 7. And the second ordered pair, the x is 3 and the y is -14. The first thing that we do want for this one is to find our slope. So m for slope, for some reason. And we can use the formula. Remember, it's always subtraction because we're finding the distance between these two. And it doesn't matter which order you put them in so long as your ordered pairs are directly above and below each other. Now for this, we know our rise is in the numerator, so all of our y values should be in the numerator. I'm just going to do this in order. So we have the first one in red. The y is 7, the x is -4. And then we have the blue one where the y is -14 and the x is 3. Now I've got that minus negative, so I'm just going to show that as plus. And let's see what this comes out to. 7 plus 14 is going to be 21. -4 minus 3 is -7. And we will simplify this. 21 divided by -7 is going to be a negative. 21 divided by 7 is 3. So our slope for the equation, we can even start it right now, y equals mx plus b. The m being the coefficient, we now know is going to be -3. What we now need is the y-intercept, and they didn't give it to us, which is something you'd probably want to check if you're doing these equations. I don't see it right there, which means I need to solve for it. And there's a couple different ways to solve for your y-intercept. You can use point-slope form because, of course, we have 2 points, and the slope right here. Let's go and just do that. Okay, and the slope is the coefficient of the grouping right there with the parentheses. And I'm just going to go with the red ordered pair there because, well, it's the first one. And the y value is a 7, and the x is a -4. Of course, now I have a minus a negative, so I'm going to show that as plus. From here, we would distribute the 3, so -3 times x, or 1x, would give me -3x's, and -3 times a positive 4 is going to be -12. So now I have a y minus 7 equals -3x minus 12. And the last thing I need to do to solve here is simply to get rid of that -7 on the left. So I'm going to zero it out by adding 7 to both sides. That will zero that out, which is what we wanted. This gives me y equals some number of x's. Of course, we know it's going to be -3, the coefficient of x being the slope, and -12 plus 7 right there is going to end up giving me a -5, it looks like. So for my final equation there, we've already found the slope. Now we have found the y-intercept, and that would complete this. Now there's a different method that you can choose, and that's by using slope-intercept form. So slope-intercept form, right, y equals mx plus b. B is the y-intercept right here. Now if we look at this, kind of like we did with literal equations in, what was it, like 1.10 or something like that? We have a formula right here, and yes, of course, we do have the slope. So I can go in here and replace the slope because we already know that it is -3. But what we should also see is that there's 2 different ordered pairs that we can use in order to figure out the y-intercept right here. So what you can do, and this just makes it so you don't have to memorize this extra point-slope formula. You can just memorize slope-intercept form and then find your corresponding y-intercept. But what I'm going to do is, I'll stick with the first ordered pair here. Again, the x is -4 and the y is 7, so that's what this is. The x and the y are an ordered pair that you can plug into this equation. So for this, I would take the x and replace it with -4. And again, that's from this ordered pair up here in the top left. And then the y value, I would replace that with 7. And all I need to do now that I have this formula put together is solve for my b value. So -3 times -4 is 12. Now I have 7 equals 12 plus b. And of course, the last thing I need to do is solve for b. And how am I going to do that? Well, I would, at this point, subtract 12 from both sides. And 7 minus 12 is the -5, which we expected. Sorry, that got kind of crowded there, but hopefully it works. But that's all we need for this one. You can see that you can solve for the y-intercept here, and then you just plug that into your formula, y equals mx plus b, because we already found the slope. All right, I hope that was helpful.